So going through Rush, well, at first, coming into college, I wasn't even 100% sure I would go through Rush, but I kind of checked out few different places, and I was actually a legacy at another chapter on campus. But I'll never forget that when I was going through Rush, brother William Allen Lorman, he like kind of pulled me aside and just like talked to me. It's like, just talked about the brothership and everything that they had at the chapter. And I was actually able to see it there, even going through Rush and some of the events pre-Rush. And so just talking to him, it made me realize that that's the place I wanted to be. And, you know, the rest is history. So when I was a freshman, I started off and I was the associate member class president. Then after that, I moved into a role where I was helping the philanthropy chair after we got initiated. And then my sophomore year, I was elected chapter president, and I served that for my full sophomore year. Then following that with my junior year, I was elected as IFC president, and I finished that out through the rest of pretty much my college career. And I was also on campus, just did a few different other things. I was student recruiter for Louisiana Tech, and as well as an orientation student leader. And so. So when I started at Louisiana Tech, I actually started off in biomedical engineering, and I got a student job working as the assistant to the director of facilities at the biomedical engineering building. So I would take care of all the different animals that they were doing different research stuff on, and take care of that and just doing pretty much anything they needed around the building. And so I really liked the field of biomedical engineering, but I always knew that I wanted to go into medical school. And with all of the different on-campus stuff I was involved in, engineering is an extremely time-consuming field to go into. So it was most nights I wouldn't be getting in bed till well after midnight, and not because I was having fun, but because I was doing homework every night. And so I decided to switch my sophomore year to just straight biology. And then from there on out, just stuck with that. I came in with a lot of credits from high school due to like AP and dual enrollment classes. So even though I switched my degree in the middle of my sophomore year, I was still able to graduate in 4 years and with a chemistry minor. So I'm now enrolled at LSU Shreveport, which is actually only an hour west of Ruston, where Louisiana Tech is. And so I graduated with my undergraduate degree in 2018. And then I decided to take a gap year, and I chose to work at a level 2 trauma center in the North Houston area as a scribe in the ER, where I would get to follow around the physician or the nurse practitioner, see the case with them, take down the important notes, and put it into the electronic medical records for them. And at this time, I was living with my best friend in college and one of my fraternity brothers, Colin McKenzie, because his family owns a barbecue restaurant chain in the Conroe Montgomery area called McKenzie's Barbecue. So if you're there, check them out. But lived with him, worked there. And then I applied early decision to LSU Shreveport. So when you apply early decision, you're pretty much committing to that school, to where if you just apply regular admission, you can apply to as many schools as you want, and then whichever ones you get admitted into, you can choose from there. Whereas with early decision, if the school accepts you, you have to go there. But on the flip side of the coin, the benefit is they have to let you know you're admitted by October 1st, as opposed to like being able to put you on a wait list and you not find out till May that you're starting classes in a month and a half. So you have to move there. So that's what I did, and it was really nice. And then luckily, another one of my fraternity brothers was actually a first-year medical student when I was applying. So he's a year ahead of me. So I'm now a second year. He's a third year. I asked if he wanted a roommate, and so he said sure. So me, him, and another guy that went to Louisiana Tech, we all lived together. at the end of my second year, so this year for me, I'll take something called a step one, and the score on that will determine exactly what fields you're competitive for. So at the end of this year, I'll be able to narrow down my options a little bit better. But after working in the ER for a year and kind of like getting to see the fast pace of it, I really enjoyed working in the ER. So that's something that's on my short list. And another thing, obviously, everybody kind of, or if you're into emergency medicine, everybody loves the trauma, the fast pace, the adrenaline of it. But it's also a great way to help serve your community, because the ER will see anybody regardless of insurance status. And so those people have health problems just the same as whether or not you have insurance or not. You don't choose to get sick. And so, and then after, at some point I would like to go back to school and get my MBA. Some universities like University of Tennessee offer a medical MBA program that kind of caters towards hospital administration. Nice. Especially I want to go this route if I do go into emergency medicine, because one of the biggest drawbacks or criticisms some people have about emergency medicine is the very high burnout rate among physicians, just because you're working shift work, which for a young person, I love shift work when I worked there. I like working the night shifts. But as I get older, I may not like that, and I might want to transfer into a hospital administration type role. So I think going back and getting an MBA would go a long way towards that. What it meant to me to receive this award, it was a really nice, like, kind of way, like, piece of recognition, because in medical school, as opposed to like undergraduate, for the most part, we only have one test per course. So even though we still kind of go along a semester system, we, especially in the second semester of your first year, at least at our institution, we do courses. So right now I'm in our cardio block, and it's about 5 weeks long, and it's every day, like 4 to 5 lectures a day. And it's just cardio. And then once we're done with cardio, we're going to move on to, let me check my board, renal is next. So it's not like undergraduate where you're taking 4 or 5 different classes at the same time and then they finish all together. We just focus on one system, knock it out, then move on to the next one. But the downside to that is, for the most part, we'll take like a quiz or two that's worth a small percentage of our grade, and then a final exam worth 50 to 60% of our grade. So it's a pretty high pressure test at the end, but at the same time, you know, you're studying for 5 weeks, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, just nonstop. So you don't necessarily see the fruits of your labor very, very often, except for your score on that one test, maybe every 5 weeks. So to receive an award like this, it means a lot to show that not only my hard work studying in graduate school, but also going back to the different positions I held within Delta Chi and at the university in undergraduate, it means a lot to me. As for the financial side of it, you mentioned that, 2020, the COVID pandemic going on, I actually accepted a position for this past summer to work as a TA in the anatomy lab for the physician assistant physical therapy and occupational therapy school in the anatomy lab. But due to the COVID restrictions, the anatomy lab typically could hold 100 to 150 people. But because of these restrictions, we weren't able to do the anatomy lab. And so my position just kind of went away. And so by receiving this award, it took away the financial worries of like, how am I going to pay for rent over the summer, my bills, just everything like that. Because in medical school, our summer is not 3 months or 2 months. We got 5 weeks off. So it's not like I could have found any other job. Like, hey guys, I'm just gonna be here for 5 weeks, and I'm also gonna want to take like maybe a week-long vacation in the middle of that. So I'll be here for a month and then dip out.